Hi there guys, Matt here, hope you're all well and welcome to my 20,000 subscriber special Q&A video.
Golf Air 007, turn right, heading 185, reduce speed 180 knots.
185 on the heading 180 on the speed Golf Air 007.
Speedbird 124, reduce speed 160 knots to 40 me.
Reduce 160 to 4, speed 124.
Well, what a year 2014 has been, and now we're in 2015. It doesn't seem to want to ease off at all. My channel out here on YouTube has just hit 20,000 subscribers. Now that might not seem a lot to some of you, but trust me, if you're a flight sim YouTuber, anything towards that level of number is just insane. The market is very, very small, and I am eternally grateful for each of you for putting up with me, supporting me, and hitting that subscribe button. Now, as a special kind of video, I guess everyone seems to want to do it, I'm going to do a Q&A video. I've not done one of these before, so I went to Facebook and I asked you on Facebook, what did you want to know? To which 184 of you replied, and I managed to get it down to just 26 questions, covering most of what the 184 of you asked. So if I missed your question, it's nothing personal. I just don't want to make a video that is 2 hours long, and it would probably get slightly boring. I think 26 questions is actually too much, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, without further ado, let us go. Let it go. Frozen reference. What am I talking about? Let's go. Question 1 comes from a guy called Vagard. Now, I'm not going to try and pronounce your surname because I really can't. But Vagard says, how do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Who knows is the answer, really. I don't know. I'd like to be part of something that's successful, that helps people, and maybe something that's well known. I'm not sure. My ego doesn't really stretch to being popular. However, I've chosen to be a YouTuber. Therefore, I guess that brings popularity with it. But no, that's not the point. I would be anywhere between 28 and 33 years old. So by that time, I don't know if I'll still be doing this, but I would like to be a lot healthier, possibly have a family, maybe some kids. I don't know, maybe a wife if I can find someone that will remotely put up with me. But yeah, I think that's probably the best answer you're going to get for that. I don't have anything crazy lined up that's going to make me, you know, rich and famous, although I guess everyone dreams of that. So we'll just keep it simple. Less is more. There's your answer. Question 2 comes from Philip Harris, and Philip got a like on this question, so it must have been good. If you could change or improve one thing in flight sims today, what would it be? Are we talking selfishly or are we talking generically? Selfishly, I'd like the frequency of aircraft development and production to increase, and generically, I would like, I'm not quite sure. Perhaps a new flight simulator to come to market that isn't almost 10 years old would be nice, and that doesn't have as many problems that we all face with FSX and stuff like that. I know X-Plane's out there, etc., but I still think there's one last missing ingredient from this whole community split thing that would bring everyone together. Maybe that's just me talking rubbish though. But yeah, good question. My answer wasn't too great, but there you go. Question number 3 comes from Nathan Emmings, and Nathan says, what is your best moment of 2014? Well, my best moment was, well, has to be, hands down, the Cosford event, the RAF Cosford Flight Simulator Show of 2014, where I met an absolute ton of you. And there wasn't a negative thing to be said all day. It was absolutely fantastic. It really put YouTube and Twitch into perspective for me. And I figured when I walked out of that at the end of the day, that this is something that I want to do. And it's something that I really enjoy doing. So yeah, that was my best moment of 2014. Question 4 comes from Sean. I'm not going to try and pronounce that surname because I'll butcher it. But he asks, what add-on are you most looking forward to in 2015 for FSX and X-Plane? Okay. For FSX, I would probably say the FS Labs A320, if it is going to deliver what they say it's going to deliver. As far as X-Plane goes, I'm looking forward to the IXEG 737. I think that will be a pretty big game changer for you X-Planers out there. So yeah, definitely FS Labs A320 for FSX and the IXEG for X-Plane. Question number 5 comes from Matt Aldred, And Matt says, why did you decide to use flight simulation instead of more mainstream gaming to create content? Did you see a gap that needed to be filled with regards to that question? That's a good question. I started making videos for my friends, so it kind of escalated from there. I probably didn't see a gap straight away, but then once I started to create videos and the uptake was good and people started to ask for more, I did do my research and I looked around and I saw that the majority of flight simulator videos were either productions of like panoramics and wing views and crazy stuff like that, or there were people trying to educate people that quite frankly didn't really seem to know what they were talking about. So I figured that if I could get the right people on board and mixed with my knowledge, we could rectify that. And I think so far we're doing a pretty decent job. There has been a few hiccups along the way, but yeah, it's creating better content. But no, at the beginning I didn't see a gap in the market. And why did I decide to use flight simulation instead of more mainstream gaming content? Well, I was showing it to my friends, and I enjoy flight sim. Would you want to see me play COD instead? Would you want to see me play GTA? I mean, I made a train sim video, and look how that turned out. Question number 6 from George Copeland. He says, when did you start using FSX, and how did you find it out? I came across from FS9 to FSX, so I got it from when it first came out. And I found out about it just by word of mouth. It came, it was being released and everyone was talking about it, and that's how I ended up getting it. Question number 7 comes from Max William, and Max William says, what is your favorite airline and why? My favorite airline would probably be, I have two really. If we're going European, I'd probably say Norwegian. Their route sort of map and the destinations are great, and I find the service is pretty good. Stateside for me, I know I've never been down to Australia and Asia and places like that. Stateside though, I really like Delta. I thought Delta was a really nice airline. So for me it's those two. The customer service on both sides and the comfort and everything else was pretty spot on. I know a lot of people will disagree and shout at me, but personal preference is what I've experienced, so there we go. Question number 8 comes from Evan Hardin, sorry. And Evan says, will you use sponsors to better your content? Okay, that's an interesting question. I don't think I will ever get a sponsorship, and it's because of my whole attitude to everything. I'm not afraid to say when I don't like something, and I'm not afraid to, piss people off, really. Is the truth. So I think sponsors and potential sponsors would look at that and it would kind of turn them away. My sponsors right now are you guys on the people that support me on Twitch and via donations and Patreon and all of those places. So you in essence are my sponsors. As far as bettering my content goes, I just use the support from you guys to get stuff to create better content. Whether that will happen forever, I don't know, but I think for now, sponsorship is probably not going to happen. It would be nice. Or would it? I don't know. I don't like being wrapped around a company's little finger. I don't know. I don't like forcing products down people's throats unnecessarily. It's cheap, it's tacky, and it just makes you look desperate, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that answer, but whatever. Question number 9 comes from Jack Wilkinson. Airbus or Boeing? Now, I could be sarcastic here and say I've got plenty between my legs, so Airbus. But the real answer is I actually prefer Airbus, so take that as you will. It's Airbus. Question 10 comes from Alex Hardy, and he says, what are your favourite bands, favourite TV shows and movies? I don't listen to very much music, although if you watch my live stream I play some music, but it's just random stuff. I play piano, so I'm into a lot of musical theatre and stuff like that, so I don't really have a favourite band. Favourite TV show? I'm kind of torn between Orange is the New Black and House of Cards and Suits. They're all on par for me. I like them all equally. As far as movies go, one that really sticks in my mind is going to be the most pathetic thing you've ever heard. But it's Johnny English. Do you remember that movie? Maybe not. Johnny English, Rowan Atkinson, very good movie. And then they made, I think, a Reborn movie, but that wasn't as good. The original one's great, though. Question number 11 comes from Chris Sykes. How many times have you been asked FSX or X-Plane 10? Moving on, question number 12. What inspired you to start YouTube and streaming? That's from Daniel Sander. Well, I think I answered this from one of the previous questions. It wasn't really an inspiration. I was video creating to show friends, and all of a sudden people just started to watch, and from that I was like, oh, okay, more people want to see this, let's do it. And before you know it, we're here today. Question number 13 from Karim. What is your all-time favorite add-on? Aircraft. Aircraft add-on. All-time favorite aircraft add-on. I am swaying towards, at the moment, the... I don't know, actually. Can we split it? Best kind of tube liner, although it's not, is probably the Majestic Dash 8. And the best GA for me at the moment is the Cessna 182. I'm really loving that. So, Cessna 182 and the Majestic Q400-8. Question number 14 comes from Morgan Elliott, and he says, do you think people will eventually move over to P3D, even though it's not made for entertainment purposes? No, because if you look, people are still on FS9. Not everyone jumped ship. So I don't think everybody will move over to P3D. I think some people will, and probably already have. But when you invest a substantial amount of money into one platform, moving to another platform is relatively difficult because you have to buy stuff all over again. I know for like P3D and stuff like that, most developers, so to speak, will give you a free copy for P3D if you bought the FSX version. But some of the more mainstream ones don't, and that's pretty sad. I did email. Here we go. Here's a good point about P3D. I was a little bit curious as to why people were charging a little bit more to put their products in P3D. So I emailed P3D and I just said, if I was to make an add-on right now, how much would it cost me to put it into your sim? And they basically replied and said that they don't charge. So that's interesting. I don't know where the excess charge comes from. And whether the developers will ever turn around and tell us, I don't know. Question 15 comes from John Kirk, and John says, what is your favourite video that you have uploaded in 2014? That's a good question, actually. I can't remember all the videos I've uploaded. Probably the Dash 8 crash was probably the best one, but was that in 2014? I'm sure it was. If it wasn't in 2014, then my bad, but I think the Dash 8 crash, I'm trying to think if it was. Yeah, that video. Question 16 from Connor Henry. At what age did you get into aviation and simulation? I had a flying lesson when I was 13 years old, and so that was pretty much when I got into real aviation. And then after that, simulation, actually no, simulation was way before that, maybe 9 or 10. My dad had a friend that was a massive nerd when it came to simulators, and I used to go around to his house and, you know, chill out with him, and we used to fly some planes, and it was all good. And so from that point on, really, was when I got into simulation. Question number 17 was from John Dennis, and John says, was being a pilot for real ever a job you wanted to do? If so, what stopped you? When I was younger, yes, it was. There was a lot of times when I would go on holiday and a fly just flew in front of me. That was weird. I would go on holiday and I would come back buzzing and I would really want to fly a plane. As I got older and I spoke to more of my friends that eventually went on to become pilots, and I spoke to already existing pilots, I figured that although flying in real life as a full-time job is fun, the novelty soon wears off and it just comes a little bit tedious. If you have a really burning passion, then you will always enjoy that job. However, I have other interests that also take up a lot of time. So doing this as a hobby and enjoying it as a hobby is perfectly fine for me. And then I can micromanage my time to do other things as well. So yeah, I did want to become a pilot when I was younger. Not so much now. If I got the opportunity, I may take it, I may not. It all depends on my lifestyle and what's going on at that time at that point in time, even. At that time. What am I talking about? Question 18 comes from Killian Fox. Do you ever go plane spotting? If so, would you consider a spotting channel? Well, Killian, I do very rarely. I go to my local airport, which is now Manchester. When I lived in my old house, it was Liverpool. I don't have the equipment to create a spotting channel, nor do I have the knowledge. really. I don't know how to film stuff properly. As you can see now, I'm sat in my bedroom with a hoodie on with bad lighting and a webcam. So there you go. But no, if I ever did get into it properly, maybe, but not right now. Question 19 comes from Joe Burrows. How do you see flight simulation as a whole developing in 2015? Well, FSX Steam is irrelevant. People gel to that as well as I would have hoped. So I think it will I think it will stay the same. I don't think there'll be really any change. There doesn't seem to be anything that is underneath the hood that is just going to explode and change the whole dynamic. I could be wrong. P3D 64-bit might do that. But then again, we've got to get developers behind it to develop 64-bit compatible aircraft, and it's just a massive nightmare. So we'll see. I'm happy with what we've got at the moment, and let's just hope that that continues. Question 20. This is an interesting one, and I'll tell you why. Pete Gill, the Fly UK CEO, says to me, do you feel guilty about the subs and patrons who get little or no footage? Now, I could be a massive, insert abusive word right now, and fire back at that, but I'm really not going to. The frustrations are always going to be there when you support someone and you feel like you're not getting your money's worth. The issue is that I was, and not so much now, but last year was incredibly busy. I couldn't find the time to do anything, but what I was doing was investing the money wisely that I was getting from subscriptions, from pledges on Patreon. And now we have Project Fly, and there's a couple of more projects that are going to release in the near future that have all been as a result of the subscription and the Patreon sort of system. I understand that people get frustrated, and when I say people, out of the however many, 500 or 600 patrons that I've had this year, or last year should I say, I've had 2 complaints. So that's my reply to that, really. Yeah, I have nothing really more to say. If you dislike what I do so much that you need to, or you feel the need to call me out at every possible junction, every possible corner, then that's fine, do it. I am not trying to hide anything from anybody. Question 21 is from James Stevens, and he says, do you have a degree? If so, where is it from and what course? I don't, so that question is answered. If I was to get a degree, I would either do a law degree or a computer science degree, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Question 22 comes from Gaz. Gaz Taylor is one of the World Flight team, so hello there, Gaz. How often do you fly for fun, and do you find your hobby becoming more of a job? I enjoy, well, I guess you answered this before I declared I was going full-time. This is now technically my job, so flying for fun is also my job, but my job is fun, so it all merges together. Put it this way, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it. It's that simple. But yeah, I enjoy it, and work doesn't feel like work anymore. It used to, but not now. It's good. Question 23 comes from Gavin Waldron. If you got to pick any aircraft for a development team to develop, what would it be? I would probably pick something like a Gulfstream, something like a BizJet that hasn't been done before in immense detail, because it's all well and good flying all of these mainstream tube liners, but I really want to fly something that is a little bit different, like not a scheduled company, like a charter company that runs all of these BizJets. So something like a Gulfstream, maybe a 450 or something like that would be quite nice. Question 24 comes from Tyler, and Tyler says, what's your favorite plane to look at and favorite plane to fly? So in short, what plane looks the best to you and what plane do you love to fly? That was a very long-winded question, to which the answer is, my favorite plane to look at is an A330. I just think they look massively majestic. And my favorite plane to fly, probably an A330. Nah, maybe not. I don't know. A330, maybe an A300, something along those lines. Old Airbuses, new Airbuses. I like Airbus. Question number 25 comes from Den, and Den says, since Gamergate, there is some public awareness that the gamers community has some issues with sexism and other forms of discrimination. How do you handle sexist, homophobe and racist chat comments during your stream, and how do you support your chat moderators in order to maintain an atmosphere that welcomes everyone? I don't really know if I've seen a lot of this, the thing is, right, okay, my chat is weird, and my YouTube and everything else is weird, because the attention is on me, because, you know, oh, stereotypical fat person, so it takes it away from then being sexist, racist, homophobic to everybody else. So, I don't know, maybe I'm just like the catalyst in that entire thing, and you know, it stops at me, because people use me as the kind of, the battering ram, so to speak. But if it became a problem, then I would deal with it by moderating it to however it needed to be. At the end of the day, we're all the same, and that's that. People can judge. I mean, to be honest, I judge people. I've said this before. I judge people more than I should do, and then it's ironic that I then get mad when people judge me. But yeah, that's really hypocritical of me. But yeah, I don't know. It's all about common sense, you know. If there's a problem, I'll fix it, and if I can't fix it, then it's just one of those things. Life is full of people that really like to put other people down. There's only a minority, but they always seem to be heard, and it's extremely frustrating. So I hope that answered that question in, I guess, as much light as I could possibly shed on it. But there you go. Question 26, and the last question was from Chaz Perkin. What add-ons could you not live without for any simulator you possess? Anything that's weather, for me, is a must. So Active Sky, FS Real Time is another must for me. And right now, PFPX is just an absolute lifesaver. As far as X-Plane stuff goes, X-Plane does it alright itself. It doesn't really need anything on the side of it. Actually, to be honest, I never use X-Plane without the Headshake mod. That's something that I definitely use. EFAS is okay. It's a bit basic, considering you can actually pay for it. Avlasoft, if it was X-Plane compatible, would be nice. But there we go. Okay, so that is the 26 questions all answered. If you have anything to say, then please say it below the video. I feel it wasn't as informative as it could have been, to be honest. The questions were all very generic towards Flight Simulator, and there was a few odd ones. But yeah, so that's my Q&A video. Again, thank you very much for the 20,000 subscribers. I will be doing, I think, a tour of something. I'm probably going to leave it to maybe 30 or 40,000. We'll see how long it takes to get there. But for now, sit tight, and thank you for the support. Remember, we just launched Project Fly, so if you haven't checked that out, head over to projectfly.co.uk. And yeah, I'm happy. I hope you're happy. So the guy that yesterday that said I don't look happy, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I get paid to fly virtual planes around the sky. Do you? Don't think so. Okay, enough of me being pretentious. Thanks for watching. Take care as always, and until next time, adios.